Hello everybody, this is GamerGar. Welcome back to another episode of the Min-Max Money Challenge. We are now on day number 20, and what a day this is going to be. Now, today had to be resetted about 20 or 30 times. I lost count, to be honest with you, and here's why. Let's break it down step by step. So we're starting off today by grabbing our magic rock candy. We're grabbing stone. We're going to turn those stone into staircases, okay? We're going to activate the magic rock candy and we're going to fly down through the Cavern using our staircases. If we don't get a treasure room with a rain totem, we simply reset and try again. So when I say I was resetting, it didn't take me days upon days to get what I wanted, because once the staircases ran out, it was just reset, try again, rinse and repeat, and after huge amounts of attempts, it finally happened. We got some rain totems. And the reason why I done it this way was because you can access Ginger Island from 8 o'clock by using Willie's boat. I wanted to be done and dusted with this rain totem before 8 o'clock. Because the way I saw it, if I spent more time in the Caverns, that was less time I would have on Ginger Island trying to locate all of the golden walnuts. More on Ginger Island in a little while. So as we can see, I activated my magic rock candy, I'm spamming staircases, and I'm absolutely praying to God for a treasure room with rain totems. Now, I would have taken at least 2 rain totems. I got 3, I was absolutely delighted. Once I got the 3, it was time to get out of here. I don't know why I took the ladder out and then used the warp totem. I should have just used the warp totem straight away. So we're going to go back to the farm, and now we have a little bit of time to get organised before we go to Ginger Island. We have 1 in-game hour before we can access Willie's boat. So we're going to fire those rain totems into a chest, and we need to make sure that we grab absolutely everything we need over on Ginger Island, because the last thing we need now is to forget a critical tool and then having to reset the day and try that whole fiasco over and over again. Because I got the rain totems, it was going to take a lot, I mean a lot, for me to reset today. Now what we also have to remember is that 3 rain totems is not good enough to grow these beautiful crops. We will need more rain totems as the days progress. Unfortunately, that means less time over on Ginger Island, less time we get to pull up some fishies. So a message to my future self: the next time I go to the Desert Festival and do Cavern runs, do not proceed on to day number 18 unless you have rain totems. Just reset and reset and reset until you get what you need. And if that means you have to play through the same days for a couple of days in real life, for a week in real life, then so be it, because at the end of the day it will be worth it when you reap the rewards at the end of the challenge. And I know I said a few episodes ago, well, the battery packs are going to be prioritised because once we fix up the boat we can go to Ginger Island. We still can't properly do Ginger Island because we need rain totems to water ball the crops, and as far as I'm concerned, you can't really get rain totems over on Ginger Island. You can get many a great thing from the volcano dungeon, but I don't believe you can get rain totems bashing open the crates or by opening up the chests. We still are going to go to Ginger Island today because we have to make a start. We have to make our mark here. Now, I'm going to speed up this animation a little bit. So here's the thing about Ginger Island, okay? There is a Joja parrot. That parrot will find all remaining golden walnuts for the price. And here's how the price works. For every remaining golden walnut you have not found, it will add 10,000 gold onto the Joja parrot. So if you're missing 10 golden walnuts, you will have to give the Joja parrot 100,000 gold for it to find the remaining walnuts. You can't ask it to just find you 10 or find you 20. It is all or nothing. So it is extremely important, if you want to get into the walnut room as quickly as possible, that you find as many of these walnuts yourself before talking to the parrot. Now, I have done the Ginger Island Gauntlet more times than I can count. I am very confident in my ability to find huge amounts of these walnuts very, very quickly. So here's how it's going to work today. We're going to make more or less a beeline straight into the volcano dungeon, and we're going to run through the gauntlet. Fingers crossed we can get through that gauntlet as quickly as possible. When we get through that gauntlet, we're hoping to get huge amounts of golden walnuts from the mining aspects of the dungeon, from the combat aspects of the dungeon, and from the loot crate and chest aspects of the dungeon. So here's how the whole thing works, okay? When you go into the volcano dungeon, there is a set amount of golden wallets you can get from doing various activities. You can get 5 from killing enemies. You can get 5 from mining open nodes or bombing open nodes. You can get 5 from breaking open the dwarven caches or the chests. You can get 2 from opening the treasure chests that you can find inside there. And you can get some freebies towards the end or hanging around them bushes. So that's about 17 or 19 golden wallets you can get from there. That's a lot. Now here's where the big, mean RNG comes into play. Professor Snail's archaeology side quest. Sometimes you can get that done within 1 or 2 days. Other times, you could be weeks. It all depends on RNG. It all depends on how generous the game is going to be when it comes to giving you all of those artifact pieces. I know where to go to get all of the artifact pieces, but for every single one, there is unfortunately an RNG element. You can never guarantee yourself a set piece from any of the archaeology activities. So then you need to ask yourself the hard questions, where how many days are you going to reset until all of those RNG elements fall into place? Or are you just going to ignore the whole thing, fish up some lava eels, and just pay your way into Key's secret walnut room? These are choices that I have to think about all of the time, you know? So here's what we do. We're going to play as efficiently as we can. We're going to grab all of what I like to call the guaranteed golden walnuts, okay? Like these ones, for example. Doesn't matter what day it is, doesn't matter what time it is, they're just sitting there waiting to be grabbed. There's no point doing fishing today or tomorrow, because when you're fishing up lava eels to get money to pay for the Jojo bar to unlock the room for you, to get the rest of the walnuts, you're going to get the 5 from fishing that way. So do not waste your time fishing today. Don't even think about it. You could go a little bit hardcore and you could chance your arm at the Gembird puzzle. But to do that you need 5 minerals that I don't have. You need the ruby, the emerald, the aquamarine, the topaz and the amethyst. And you have to get the combination right. There's huge amounts of combinations. But if you're extremely patient and you attempt it over and over and over again, once you remember what the combination is, it doesn't change. When you reset days, it doesn't change. It's hard-coded into the game. So you could just keep guessing, resetting days, guessing till you get it right. And then, there you go. That's 5 extra golden walnuts you have in the bag. If you're really good at the Simon Says puzzle, you could try that. I'm staying far away from that puzzle. Far away. Getting the curiosity lore from that crate was extremely lucky. I was so happy with that. That's one less curiosity lore I have to think about if we get the extended family quest. I went into floor number 2 here in the volcano dungeon. It was a mushroom floor, but most of these mushrooms aren't in the greatest of moods. They will try to attack you. Fortunately, they are worth killing because they drop magma caps, which is one of the best forgeries you can get in the game in terms of energy and health. They also drop precious cinder shards. We need cinder shards to enchant our iridium rod. And in terms of enchants, fingers crossed, please give us the preserving enchant. That is by far the best enchant in the game when it comes to money. Because when your fishing rod has preserving, there is a 50% chance it will not consume a piece of bait, but more importantly, further, there is a 50% chance it will not dig in to the durability of your tackle. That means you're going to get more out of your bait, you're going to get more out of your tackle, so you're going to save huge amounts of money, huge amounts of resources. So preserving is absolutely, in my opinion, one of the best enchants you can get. Master is nice, but it only adds a little bit onto your fishing bar. I don't think it's worth it. It's nice, but it's not worth it really, to be fair, you know. Preserving, hands down, is the best. Auto hook is very nice if you want to be lazy about it, you know, because you don't have to click when you get a fish bite, but you do have to go through the fishing minigame, so you still have to put in some sort of work, you know. But if you wanted to maximize how much fish you wanted to catch in a day, the auto hook will actually save you some time, because it's always going to be faster than you, way faster than you. And I believe, and I imagine most people have watched Argon and Matrix's video where he catches every single fish in one day. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe he uses the auto hook to save precious time when it comes to getting all of those fish before he passes out. So don't pass up on auto hook. When you get to floor number 5, you are always guaranteed a magma cap inside that crate right there, so always smash it open. Those magma caps are just so good. So the goal now is very straightforward. Reach the peak of this volcano as quickly as possible. Grab the golden walnuts, enchant the rod, pray for preserving. Once all that has been done, head back down, try to unlock the Ginger Island farm as quickly as possible so we start on Ginger Island going forward. Now here's the kicker. We'll have to do another Skull Cavern run because we need more rain totems. It can't be helped. We need farming level 10. We absolutely need artisan. If we don't get that, we're not going to make the money by the end of the challenge. The 40% is too good to pass up. So unfortunately, more days will have to be sacrificed in the Skull Cavern. And it's just horrible because my reasoning for not resetting days in the Skull Cavern initially were getting the 5 battery packs. But look what good that did. We still have to go back and get the rain totems because the crops aren't going to water themselves. So I really should have kept resetting days until I got the battery packs and the rain totems. But that's what happens now when you tell yourself, oh sure, I'll get them some other day. Or they'll pop up eventually. They're not going to pop up. You have to get them in Skull Cavern. Every extra day that I spend in Skull Cavern is one less day I get to spend pulling up fish. And it is very impactful when it comes to how much money we're going to make at the end of this challenge. Because even if we don't get extended family, lava eels are still worth their weight in gold. Each one, with artisan and angler, are worth over 4,400 gold. Because they're all going to be gold star lava eels. There's no way we're going to be getting perfect catches with those, you know? Let's just think about that for a second. It's not going to happen. Unless you got some god tier RNG and they just didn't flop all over the place. Unfortunately, lava eels are very, very aggressive. They do flop all over the place. They're very hard to catch. So we're now on floor number 7. And sometimes you just can't escape from these fire enemies, you know? These magma sprites and magma sparkers. Sometimes it's just better to just kill them and then move on with the run because they're very fast as well, you see. And to be fair, most of the times, they don't take a whole lot of hits. The most horrible thing about those enemies is that when they hit you, they can give you a debuff that slows you down, and they can even give you some sort of a bleed effect where you take damage over time, so you have to be very careful when you fight them. It is now 10 minutes past 6, we're on floor number 8. We're actually making some pretty good time. We will still use bombs in the hopes to get some very quick golden walnuts from mining. We just got one there which was great. We're now up on 18 golden walnuts, but we have to remember that we need some golden walnuts to get the parrots to get rid of that big giant turtle so we can get to the west side of Ginger Island where our farm is going to be. We will also need 20 additional golden walnuts to fix up the house so we can sleep on Ginger Island and we can start the next day here. Now I ended up wasting huge amounts of unnecessary time on floor number 9 here. I thought there was going to be a chest over at the right hand side, so I took out my watering can and I started to make a path. And guess what? There was nothing over here, except for an angry enemy. I decided to kill the enemy out of pure frustration, but because I've done this, it's actually going to impact the rest of the run, believe it or not, because all of these little micro decisions would impact the run in one way or another. And because there's so much time left in the day, that's time I could have spent getting more golden walnuts. That's time that could have been spent doing other things, making this a much better run, but we're never going to get that time back. And let me tell you something, after getting those 3 rainy totems this morning, there was absolutely no way I was going to be super critical GamerGar today and reset it because of that mistake. So we're just going to continue. Floor number 9 will always give you a chest. Now we're going to get a golden walnut with some other items out of the chest today, which is great because we want golden walnuts. We want to get as many as possible, you know. But when you're finished with the golden walnuts, there is a chance you can get absolutely amazing items from those chests. You can get dwarvish weapons. More importantly, if you're lucky, you can get dragon tooth weapons. All of the dragon tooth weapons come with a special enchant, a critical strike damage bonus. It's absolutely amazing. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but you can put special enchants on your dragon tooth weapons using dragon's teeth. And sometimes when you enchant it with a dragon tooth, it will get 2 enchants instead of 1. When you're happy with those enchants, you can further enchant it with a prismatic shard, and of course, you can put gems into it as well, increasing its many stats. So if you fired like 3 rubies into one, you gave it some dragon's teeth, you got 2 special enchants. attack power, critical strike bonus, and then you hit it with a prismatic shard as well, you end up with this weapon that is extremely powerful. Even more powerful than an infinity weapon. So don't think for a second that the infinity weapons are the strongest weapons in the game. They are not. Now, I haven't done a huge amount of tests with Dragon Tooth weapons, but I will do more over the next couple of weeks, and I might make a video about it. But as we can see, we didn't get Preserving. We got Auto Hook for the first enchant for the rod, then we got Master for the second. That was horrendous luck right there. No amount of their resets changed the outcome. The enchants are hard-coded into the game from when you first start your file. But that's what we get. We do, however, have 2 more prismatic shards, but we don't have enough cinder shards to get more enchants done. So we're at a little bit of a roadblock here. We have to make decisions. Do we go back through the volcano again tomorrow in the hopes to get more cinder shards, in the hopes that one of those 2 prismatic shards will have the preserving enchant? We also have to think about the limited rain totems that we have right now, okay? We need to go to Skull Caverns and get more rain totems. Unfortunately, you cannot get cinder shards in the Skull Cavern, and you can't get rain totems in the volcano dungeon. So we have a problem. We have a big problem. Because without the preserving enchant, we're going to be using up a lot more fish to make a lot more bait. We're going to be going through a lot more tackles. That means a lot more resources, a lot more time needed to assemble those resources to get those tackles. All of that time we spend going through the volcano, going to Skull Cavern, that's time we could be spending pulling up lava eels. And look at what day it is. It's day 20. Tomorrow is day 21. We only now have a very small window of opportunity to pull up fish to make some serious money. And this is where the best fish are. Ginger Island is where you get the money, it's where you make the millions, it's where you get the quests that allow you to make the millions. And we barely have a week. Welcome to the challenge, everyone. What are we going to do? We don't have any more magic rock candies. So I don't see the point in waking up on the 21st, spamming staircases, so we don't even have that much stone, in the hopes to get a very early rain totem, and then we do a Ginger Island run through the volcano. That's just not realistic, you know? Do you know how many attempts it would take without a magic rock candy to get a treasure room on the first couple of floors that would also yield a couple of rain totems? We're talking about crazy odds, and I was coming to the end of this challenge, so I had to sit down and make a decision here. Do I reset and reset and reset and reset and hope for the best, or do I just get on with it? I decided to just get on with it. So tomorrow will be a Skull Cavern run, and for the rest of the challenge, we're not going to bother with the preserving enchant. Let's just cross our fingers that the bait maker will be generous, and it will give us 8, 9, 10 pieces of bait every time we chuck a fish into it, instead of 5 pieces of bait. So for the rest of the evening, we're going to get as many golden wallets as we can. We're going to get the ones that are easy to get, because if you take a look at the time there, it's 12:20. We're going to pass out at 2 o'clock. We have 19 golden walnuts. We're doing fine. We just need 1 more to get 20 to fix up the house. And there's a couple of golden walnuts around here that are easy enough to get. So if I could go back in time, I would have been a lot more critical on myself during the Desert Festival. And I would have made sure that I got at least 5 to 6 rain totems, a curiosity lure, along with the battery packs. So I'm not doing all of this backtracking now to get those things, because we're just bleeding out days now, and it's killing the run. It's killing the potential that we tried so hard to get. And this is what happens when you get lazy halfway through a challenge and tell yourself, oh, should we get the rain totems later? It'll be fine. Despite all that, despite all of the drawbacks, despite all of the doom and gloom that I'm projecting right now, I can guarantee you this: it will still turn out to be a cracker of a run. Just keep watching. There is a chance you can get some snake skulls and snake vertebrae by breaking open a lot of the rocks here, so that's what I was doing. I was also hoping for some extra pieces of coal as well, because coal becomes essential to the tactics that we're going to be using. We want to have those smokers literally smoking around the clock once we start our fishing minigame again. So what we're going to do right now is go straight into the next day. This isn't going to be a one-day episode. I will show you day number 21 as well, because day number 21 ends up being a Skull Cavern run in the hopes to get some rain totems. Okay everyone, here we go. We're getting to the end of the challenge. It is day number 21, and it's going to be another grueling and grindy day. We're not going to be fishing today because we have some extra things we need to do. The first order of business is to get back into the Skull Caverns as quickly as possible and grab a rain totem, because we only have a small number of rain totems left. We actually need more to ensure that all of these crops that we have planted will fully grow, because we really need that artisan work. We can't, however, get into the Skull Caverns straight away because we don't have a warp portal to the desert, because I didn't plan ahead. So what you're seeing here now is me trying to tie up loose ends. Remember when I was going through the Desert Festival and I said, oh, I was really happy with the battery packs? Well, if I could go back in time, I would have redone those days until I also got rain totems. Now we are suffering the consequences because we have to take time out of our very busy schedule to get rain totems. Rain totems that we could have got a handful of days ago. So that is the kind of decision making that really damages runs like this. Despite the fact that we will have to sacrifice one day to get all this done, it won't kill the run. It will damage the run a little bit, but it will still end up being an absolute cracker of a spring. So let's get all of our inventory sorted out here. As you can see, I have lots of gold ores, but I don't have huge amounts of essences, so I can't really make much mega bombs at the moment. I also have lots of coal, but I don't have huge amounts of iron, so I can't make huge amounts of regular bombs at the moment. So what can we do here? We can go to the regular mines and we can do some farming here while waiting for Pam to get to the bus stop. That's what we're going to do. Now we're not just going to go to the regular mines for the stroll. I have reset it this day so many times. I have learned that there are multiple mushroom floors in the regular mines today. There's at least 4 of them, if you can believe that. So we are going to target those mushroom floors and we're going to try to pick up as many mushrooms as we can while destroying as many enemies as we can to get essences and what have you. We will also try to pick up huge amounts of ores and whatnot to make more bombs so we can do some sort of a Skull Cavern run. Now today was very hard because more times than not we went into Skull Cavern underprepared, so we weren't getting huge amounts of luck, we weren't getting huge amounts of treasure rooms, and when we did get a treasure room on the rare occasion, it didn't have a rain totem. It had something else that we didn't need. So I last count the amount of times I had to reset today to get the right RNG. It's not all doom and gloom. We do have spicy eels. That's going to give us a luck buff. The hardest part was that today we had neutral luck. It wasn't bad luck, it wasn't great luck, it was in the middle luck. Now with neutral luck, it doesn't mean you're going to have a neutral Skull Cavern day. With enough day resets, you can still do quite well. But it would have been really nice if we had a magic rock candy or something like that that would offset a lot of that negative luck, you know? I also regret selling all of my jades because today is Sunday. I could have turned in jades for staircases, but the great majority of jades that I picked up in spring I sold for money. Now I know at the very start money is extremely important, but I probably could have kept the jades, you know? So here we are on floor number 93, and look at all of these beautiful mushrooms. The great majority are red, but it doesn't matter that much. Picking them up gives me foraging XP, which is nice, and I can also sell them for some extra funds. At the end of the day, it's a money challenge, so even if we're in the regular mines, we still want to make as much money as possible. Once we're done with all the mushroom floors, we will go into the Skull Cavern, of course, and we will spend the majority of the day there, because we really want the rain totems, and one rain totem isn't good enough. We need at least 2 or 3 of these things to ensure the crops are always watered. We also have to watch out because the 24th is coming, and the last thing we want is to start on the farm on the 24th and not be able to go to Ginger Island, because everything is closed on the 24th because there's an event. And even if you wait until the event is over, you still will not be able to go into Willie's to get the boat. So you're stuck on the mainland on the 24th unless you have a warp totem. We happen to have a warp totem at the moment, so we need to think about when it's best to use that. Cherry bombs can come in clutch a lot of the time, which is great. So as you can see, I'm more concerned about grabbing all these mushrooms than I am about killing enemies. If enemies do get in my way, we will wipe them out. And all of the essences that we're getting right now will come in very handy so we can craft a handful of mega bombs when we get into the Skull Cavern. Once we do get into the Skull Cavern, I'm not too worried about finding extra resources to make more bombs along the way, because every single level that you go into in Skull Cavern normally has some sort of a gold node or an iron node or something like that that we can use to make lots more bombs as we proceed. So this is a harsh lesson learned for me, and I think the next time I attempt one of these spring challenges I will have to make an ironclad rule, where if I don't get the necessary amount of rain totems before Desert Festival finishes, I simply won't proceed on. So I think going forward, when the festival starts on the 15th, I need to set realistic goals such as 1 battery pack and 1 rain totem on the first day, a battery pack and a totem on the second day, things like that, you know, to ensure that you're getting critical items every single day, or at least 2 of those items every single day before moving on to the next day. So when you reset all of these days over and over again, you'll be very surprised what actually happens. There was one occasion where I beat Shadow Shaman and it dropped the Prismatic Shard, which is really nice. Now enemies generally will not drop Prismatic Shards unless you grab the Skull Key when you get upgraded. That's the trade-off. So once I was finished with all of the mushroom floors, I popped my totem, went straight back to the farm. It was 11:30, so it was a little bit later than what I intended. But, you know, at the end of the day, it was what, like reset number 20 or 30 or 40, what have you. I just went with it. So I'm going to sell all the items I don't need. The crabs, I'm going to sell all of the mushrooms. I have a huge amount of those magma caps, they're really good. So I didn't feel the need to have the purple mushrooms. I'm now going to make a couple of bombs with some of the resources I found in the regular mines. Now look, they're not huge amounts of bombs, I don't have huge amounts of staircases, but I had enough to get a foothold in the Skull Caverns. So now we're going to head up, we're going to talk to Pam here, and we're going to do a nice Skull Cavern run in the hopes to get a rain totem. And hopefully once today is finished, we can then spend the rest of the challenge pulling up huge amounts of fish, making millions of gold. Before we go into the Skull Caverns, there's a few things we're going to do around the desert first. We will pick up some forageables if they are on our targeted path. We're then going to talk to the desert trader because we do have a lovely diamond that we can trade in for the triple shot espresso. That is very important. The speed boosts are just so important when it comes to doing a challenge like this. We're also going to purchase another warp totem to the desert. We might never need it again, but you never know. A handy thing about a warp totem to the desert is that if you don't have a warp totem back to the farm, you could warp to the desert and then take the bus back to the bus stop and go to the farm from there. It is very handy to use it if you want to avoid events, for example, that might be taking place in the middle of Pelican Town. So we're now in the Skull Cavern. It is 10 minutes past 12. We do have the bulk of the day to make the most out of. Grabbing the extra gold from the cart there is always a great move. We will end up having to buy coal off Clint eventually, just so you know, because despite the fact that we have lots of coal right now, when we start smelting up 3 fish at a time because we have 3 fish smokers, after 1 or 2 days of that, your coal is gone, you know? And if we don't get lucky with chests, if we don't replenish coal, we will simply have to buy it off Clint. There's no other way around it. Fortunately for us, when it comes to the amount of money we're going to be making from lava eels and what have you, it will be very easy to buy a full stack of coal, and then some. Using charity bombs is still a sound strategy if you don't have anything better. Now, I actually got some pretty good luck today. I was getting shafts, I was getting early staircases, it was nice, and I was only using cherry bombs. I wasn't using regular bombs or mega bombs. The cherry bombs were doing the job for me easy enough. Occasionally, yes, we will pop a cherry bomb, depending on the scope of the area, but at the end of the day, we just want to get some treasure rooms. And when it comes to infestation floors like this, it's best to just pop the staircase and move on. We don't have time to fight pepper rexes. If the pepper rexes drop rain totems, absolutely, but they don't. They're only going to get rain totems from treasure chests. If we get curiosity lures, very nice indeed. If we don't, we won't worry too much about it. We already have one, we can't complain. And floor number 18 was another infestation floor. Not great for us. Any other circumstances, it would have been absolutely magnificent, because sometimes when it comes to monster eradication goals, you might get bottlenecked by pepper X's. Sometimes you can go through hundreds of floors in Skull Cavern, and you might not come across one prehistoric floor. So you could say in a way, it was lucky to get to so fast. In other ways, it wasn't. It's just the RNG of the game. Now on floor 21, I did find a staircase over there on the right hand side, so we will make our way towards that staircase. If we see the grey rock stuff that we can mine open in just one strike, we might hit a few of those as we go along. Another free staircase on the next level, that was nice. Break open a couple of crates in the hopes to get something nice, we didn't. We will take the prismatic shard, however. You never know, we might come across some cinder shards by accident, we might get another enchant going. Probably not though. It is worth noting as well that on Thursdays you can trade in 3 prismatic shards for a magic rock candy. I normally do that if I have huge amounts of prismatic shards, because as you've all seen for yourself when it comes to the magic rock candies, they really change up the way in terms of how your Skull Cavern run is going to go. After watching all of my Skull Cavern attempts, I'm hoping that a lot of the beginner players, or players that might not have a whole lot of confidence about running Skull Cavern, I hope this might alleviate things for you. As you can see, it's not the nightmare dungeon that the wiki or other people make it out to be. It's actually fairly fine, you know? I do have a big guide on how to Skull Cavern, and it tells you everything you need to know about starting out for the Skull Cavern and how to excel in the Skull Cavern. It's a really good guide. If you have a pop into my channel, you'll find it in the popular section. The great thing about Skull Cavern is that the great majority of enemies you fight are slow. The ghosts are slow, the crabs are slow, the mummies are slow, the pepper rexes are slow. The bats are fairly weak until you get down past floor 50 where you get the iridium bats, but they're worth fighting because of the things that they drop. The serpents are something that scares most people because more times than not, you'll come in here for the very first time, all excited, ooh look, it's a new place. You're on floor 1 and a serpent comes along. It bypasses all of the terrain and starts hitting you for huge amounts of damage. But once you get a few extra skill ups on combat, once you get some good boots, some good rings, you end up having great fun destroying them. And they don't have huge amounts of HP. Let's take a look at our weapon here for example. We were able to wipe that one out in 4 hits. Now if we had some iridium bands, some ruby rings, or if we had some diamond enchants on our weapon, you'd be wiping them out in 1 or 2 attacks. And before you know it, doesn't matter if you go into a floor and there's 5 serpents, 10 serpents, 2 serpents, they just all disintegrate before you. You'll also notice that when it comes to Skull Cavern runs, I generally fall into a very similar pattern of how I farm the place. If I see iron ores, I generally go out of my way and I farm them so I can make bombs. Once I've made a couple of bombs, I start using them, but when I use bombs, I try to detonate them around other iron ores, so I can just continuously make them over and over and over again. And as long as you do that, you will make steady progression. You mightn't make huge super progression, but you never know. 1 or 2 shafts can change the whole game for you. 1 or 2 shafts to get you down 10 levels, 15 levels, before you know it, you're on floor 100 and you're reaping the rewards. And if you do take damage in Skull Caverns, don't worry too much about it. Just make sure you bring in some healables with you and you'll be alright. Now what I've noticed about Skull Caverns is that, take a look at this level here, okay? We've already gotten a level like this and we've nabbed the coal. Sometimes it can give you copies of levels and the coal cart isn't filled up with coal. Other times you can get different instances of that level and the coal cart will be full. It's just what I've noticed by playing through these levels. So we're going to take the staircase down to floor 47 and look what we have in 47, a shaft. We're going to grab the iron first and we'll get that copper node because it's right there next to us, and then we're going to jump down the shaft. 7 levels, not bad at all. And as you can see, when it comes to rooms like this, sometimes I just pickaxe the first couple of nodes to see if I'm going to get an early staircase. More times than not, especially if you have some decent luck, it will fire early staircases at you towards the start of the level. We're now going to open up the menu yet again, and we're going to make a couple of bombs. Look at all those gold nodes there. It's just so nice detonating all of them, and look at all of the shafts we're getting. And remember, today was a neutral luck day. And despite the fact that it was a neutral luck day, you know that the luck was in our hands, everything was in our hands, we're getting huge amounts of shafts. So don't let the daily luck stop you from coming in here. Even if it says that the spirits are not pleased, stay home. Just take a spicy eel and come in, or take a magic rock candy and come in and just try your luck at it. Even if you end up coming in here and there's huge amounts of monsters, that's good for you. That's more resources that you get to farm. Look what we have right now. We have a lovely serpent and an iridium bat. Let's wipe them out and get some nice resources. We get a void essence and we get some iridium ore. But that could have been different. That could have been a spicy eel. It could have been a rabbit's foot. You know, we could have gotten a life elixir, a mega bomb. They're the things you have to think about when these enemies are coming at you. Just think of it like this. The Skull Cavern wants you to succeed, so it sends resources your way so you can proceed even faster. And those resources are iridium bats, serpents, mummies. Just fight them. Get used to fighting them, and before you know it, the Skull Cavern becomes your favourite destination. And more times than not, you'll go to Skull Cavern and you'll forget all about the farm until the pigs and the cows and the chickens start screaming out your name. But you won't hear it, because you'll be in the Skull Cavern, wiping out enemies, hearing different types of screams. We're actually not doing too bad, considering we come in here after 12 o'clock. Because we're getting the shafts, we're getting some seriously good luck here. We're now on floor number 71, and look at that. There's another staircase just waiting there, visibly, you know? It just turned out to be a real good day. Here is another long-winded corridor, so we're going to check our way down, and as I said before, you're always going to get the staircase at the end of the corridor, but if you do see copper nodes, if you do see little grey pieces of stone, just mine them open. Now, I thought for sure they were going to be lava crabs, but they weren't. So I'm going to make a little cherry bomb. I'm going to detonate them to get some iridium ores, because why not? It is a money challenge after all. There was no coal in the coal cart because we already got it. So that was just a copy of a previous level. It wasn't like a different instance, we'll say. So we are getting lucky in terms of shafts and staircases. We are not getting lucky when it comes to treasure rooms. On that note, when you go down a shaft, you could be going over treasure rooms. That's why I much prefer to just spam staircases when I am hunting for treasure rooms, because you'd probably end up finding more of them. But if we do hit floor 100, we do get a guaranteed treasure room. If we get 200, we'll get 2 guaranteed treasure rooms. So sometimes if you come in here, filled up to the top with bombs and absolute magnificent luck, it might be better to just aim for those rooms, try to get the guaranteed treasure rooms. Anything you get before that, consider it a bonus. So at the end of the day, we're just at the mercy of RNG. We're going to fight this iridium bat, get some solar essences, get some more iridium ore. We're now on floor 77. Lucky 77. What is it going to do for us? Not much. We got nothing there for detonating the bomb. Let's detonate another bomb on floor number 77. We got a staircase. So much for 77. The next floor, as you can see, more and more iridium nodes are now starting to spawn because we're getting deeper. And this is where you start getting the XP. This is where you start getting the money. Because every single iridium bar you sell is worth 1500 gold. So every 5 iridium ore I'm picking up here, that's like picking up 1500 gold. That's why it's called Cavern. It can be extremely powerful when it comes to making money. As I said before, it will never be as powerful as pulling up lava eels or pulling up legend 2s in a single day. Maybe it might be a little bit more powerful than pulling up lava eels if you came down here and you got real good luck and you got to floor 100 within the first few in-game hours. Maybe then it would be extremely powerful. Sometimes I like to corner those big giant slime blobs and just wipe them all out, especially if you're forcing them into a corner. It's beautiful combat XP, and more times than not, especially if loads of mini slimes jump out, you end up with huge amounts of loot. So we're now on floor number 82, and look at that, we got another free staircase. It's just real nice stuff altogether. As you can see, I'm going into the menu a lot making bombs. And this is what happens when you come in here and you don't have huge amounts of bombs. You're going to get resources into the crafting menu and you're going to make bombs. It's going to be rinse and repeat until you're finished for the day. And that's just the way it is. Fortunately for you, when you go into the menu, time stands still. And I don't know if this is common knowledge, but when you do a Skull Cavern run, time is much slower. So when you're on the farm, when you're on Ginger Island, time moves normally. But when you come into the Skull Cavern, time moves slower. So you actually have a lot more time in here, which is great. The next time I do this challenge, I will absolutely have 2 glowstone rings. I will have the best magnetism that you can get. I probably would have done way better inside Upper Skull Caverns if I went in with glowstone rings or magnet rings. It's now just coming at 10 o'clock. We're on floor 91. Still no rain totems. Will we actually get rain totems today? Who's to say? Maybe I'm just leading you on all this time. Maybe this run doesn't turn out to be the run that I promised. You're just going to have to keep watching. Maybe we just don't get rain totems today. Maybe I just end up in a rut and I say, you know what, F it, let's just go into the next day and hope for the best. You know, maybe we get some natural rain, for example. I know that tomorrow isn't going to be a natural rainy day, so I did have to activate a rain totem. But maybe the next day will be a natural rainy day. Maybe the day after that will be a natural rainy day, you know, who's to say? But here's the problem, here's the risk. If you end up taking a chance like that and it turns out that it is not going to be a rainy day, you're bottlenecked. You have to get a rain totem then. So in my opinion, let's get the rain totems. Don't leave it to chance. Because more times than not, when it comes to a run like this, chance will screw you over. So we're now on floor 95. Iridium ores are aplenty. We got the long windy floor again, but after wiping out that iron ore, we took the staircase straight down into the next level. At this stage in the game, I was quite eager to get the floor 100 to see what I was going to get. Will the game do me any sort of favours? Would I get a treasure floor before floor 100? Sometimes you can get 2 or 3 treasure floors in a row if you come in huge amounts of luck. We weren't getting that kind of luck today though. But I'm not going to complain. I was getting lots of shafts and staircases, so I'm very happy. We're coming on 12 o'clock now. We're going to pass out at 2 o'clock. If it doesn't happen within the next 1 or 2 in-game hours, we're going to have to reset the day and try again. That is what was going through my mind at this very moment in time when I was on floor 97, you know? I told myself, okay, what are the odds that I'm going to get a rain totem before today finishes? Getting a Mega Bomb off that bat was real nice. Now here's another thing about shafts. If you get a shaft, for example, on floor 99, it will only drop you 1 level, because the game will hardcode you into getting to floor 100. And that's an absolute fact every single time you come here, okay? That is the only time a shaft would ever give you 1 level and 1 level only. Any other time you use a shaft, you would always get more than 1 level. So when I was on floor 97, I felt like I was on this floor for just way too long and I had to start moving, you know? So I made a couple of more bombs, I made a couple of staircases, I decided to detonate these nodes to see what happens. There was no staircase. The Iridium bats were coming again. So I could have went down and got that Iridium ore, but time was against me. Look at it now, it was 10 minutes past 12. I needed to get a move on. Floor 98, detonated the nodes, got down to floor 99, still no treasure room. So we are now fully dependent on grabbing that rain totem from the floor 100 chest. Are we gonna get the rain totem on floor 100? Yes, we do. Hey, we got 3 rain totems. Oh, I was so happy when this happened. You don't understand how happy I was. And you never will understand because you're not going through all of the failed attempts like me. You're just seeing the best possible versions of each day, you know? Maybe one of these days when my kids are older and they're not coming into the office every 5 minutes looking for things I might do and I'll stream. And we can do a spring challenge together. And you'll see all the day resets. You'll see all of the writing that I do, the thinking that I do, all of the grind. If that's something you'll enjoy, we might do it down the road. But for now, no streams. So we finally teleported back to the farm. We have 3 rain totems, and we have some more in the chest. That's 4 in total. So we have enough to make sure that those crops fully grow. Don't you worry, my beautiful kale. You shall be harvested. I forgot to go back to the desert trader and get some triple side espressos. So we're going to use the warp totem. We're going to go back there and grab the power-ups so I don't have to get them tomorrow. Because time is something I don't have anymore. So we're going to trade in some diamonds for triple side espressos. We're going to get another warp totem to the desert just in case. And we're going to get some more spicy eels. And the reason why we're getting these now is because we can do faster work over on Ginger Island. We need all the speed that we can get. We have 9,761 gold. With 7 in-game days to go. So why am I smelting up lots of copper bars? Well, it's quite simple. We're going to be making trap bobbers, friends. Huge amounts of trap bobbers. We're going to sell loads of stuff here that we're never really going to use. I even sold some of the essences. I sold the iron bar, the bat wings, the cave carrots. I sold the jade. I sold the magma caps. And the reason why I'm selling all these things is because I'm done now with Skull Cavern. I'm done with the mines. I'm finished. For the rest of the challenge, it's just going to be fishing, 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 fishing. Money, 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 money. So prepare yourself for the next episode. In terms of money made today, I actually didn't do too bad. 17,000 gold for the most part. That was a fairly decent Skull Cavern haul. Fortune was the big one. Look at all of the mushrooms though, but they came from all of the mushroom floors that we got in the regular mines. The magma caps also sell for real nice money. Look at the gold star magma cap. 600 gold for that. Imagine if you had botanists, you were getting medium quantity magma caps. I'm talking some serious money then. So that is another episode, everyone. I really hope you enjoyed it. I will see you very soon in the next episode, and the next episode might be the last one. I'll see how we get on. I'll see how much fishing is involved in it. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you very soon.